children from broken families see the worst. She's a homemaker and she's looking after your house. She should also be rewarded.
What are the most misunderstood legal rights in a marriage?
So you are not going to get 50% of the assets that your husband owns. A woman also has a right of maintenance. When I say maintenance, it includes food, clothing and shelter. See, they don't want to stay in a joint family.
2 generations ago, it was not
at all.
acceptable. You can get beaten to death, but that's okay. That's your destiny, they would say.
Prenup agreements are not at all acceptable in this country. These are not at all executable.
With a distinguished 25-year career in family law, Amruta Pathak stands as a preeminent divorce attorney and social advocate, renowned for her comprehensive legal expertise and profound commitment to social justice. She's a seasoned High Court lawyer specializing in complex divorce litigation and is nationally recognized for handling high-profile celebrity divorce cases.
What is the percentage of marriages that end in divorce today compared to the previous decades?
See, previous decades, Ashna, I'll tell you, I started working 27 years back. So there weren't many divorces. But I believe today, there must have been an increase by, say, another 10 to 15%.
Where divorce,
of course, it's a large number. I mean, so I think people know now, what their rights are. The women know what their rights are. And it's no more that they are going to hide behind the camera or behind and say that we are not going to take a divorce. So it's a large number. It's around 15% or so.
I think it boils down to living with toxicity or walking out of toxicity. And
Exactly.
I think culturally, as a society, we come from a place where we were told to hush
Exactly.
and live with it. Whereas today, women are educated, they understand, like you said, their own rights, they understand what's right and what's wrong for them, even mentally. Forget that you're being taken care of financially, you have a roof over your head, you have food on your table. But if you're emotionally so disturbed each and every second of the day, then you think to yourself, what am I doing here?
Yeah, and I think, Ashna, that women no longer want to live in that, violent atmosphere. Or for that matter, why women, even men today. They don't want to live with a wife who is after their life, who is badgering them. And they know it. They want freedom at the end of the day. And I don't see it wrong, coming from there. So the divorce rates have gone up. People have become more knowledgeable about their rights. I think even the social media plays an important role. And they don't want to shy away from anything because earlier, I believe the society had this, oh, you are a divorcee, so how are you going to be looked upon? But now it's a free society. So I think the divorces have really gone up.
And do you think the pandemic has influenced the divorce rates?
Pandemic has influenced the divorce rates. I mean, I could say this from my experience while we were all at home, during pandemic, and I used to get calls practically every day. Maybe because both the people were staying together 24/7, and that is the time I think you really understood what your partner was, and divorces have gone up after the pandemic. Yes.
Yeah, because I think, they say...
You can't be on each other all the time. So
yeah, and they always say that distance makes the heart grow fonder, or some amount of respectful distance which two human beings have. A man goes to work, a woman goes to work,
Yes.
They meet in the morning, they meet at night once they both are back from work, then they have their children and their chores, and then you go off to sleep. So you have, I would say, 2 hours where you're actually really speaking to each other about whatever topics it is.
Totally.
But if you're left for 24 hours together, days on end, and we didn't know at the time if this time is going to end or not, I think that would be very difficult for humans.
Yes. I mean, I'm telling you, I really got calls practically every day that this is what is going on. And so, and after pandemic, I've seen that there are many divorce cases that have been filed, So this pandemic has really taken a turn up. Maybe people or the couples have realized that they cannot live together and there has been a lot of toxicity and they needed to get out of it.
So tell us, what role does age play at the likelihood of a marriage surviving?
See, I won't say at any age. I mean, so today I come across divorces where even a 75-year-old man or a 80-year-old man wants to divorce his wife because he has somebody else in his life. So age does not play an important role. It depends upon how you are going to interact with your partner. It will depend on whether you're comfortable with that partner, whether this marriage is giving you anything. It is always a give and take. So that's how it's going to be, whether you can sustain the relationship. But I have seen that normally the age group where the marriages fall apart is probably after the age of 45 or 50. I think that is the period when, the couple undergoes this menopausal period. And that is the time when there is a rift or somebody gets involved outside. So I think for me, according to me, I think it is 50 plus is where, the marriages start breaking.
Do you think it is because that's the age that most people realize they're unhappy and they've wasted 4 or 5 decades of their life not really achieving or getting what they want? Because we are complacent as human beings, right? If I get used to eating Indian food every night, I will be used to Indian food every night. If I move to Italy and I start eating Italian food every night, I will eventually stop making an effort to make Indian food and I'll start eating Italian food. I think we just adapt as humans. So do you think we adapt into our marriages and there comes a point where you're like, you know what, I can't do this anymore, I'm discontent, this is not what I signed up for, and you finally take an action?
Yes, they do. But there are youngsters now, when I'm saying this, youngsters, the young generation, they are not going to adapt to this lifestyle. They are the ones, if this is not going to work my way, then the divorces happen like within 2 years of marriage or within a year of marriage. However, older people, I call myself old because I'm in that category of 50s. Probably, yes, people in my category have given their full shot to the marriage. And at some point of time, they realize that I have given in everything, but I have not got what I wanted.
Yeah. Dissatisfaction.
Yeah. So this is the time when they actually consciously take a call, because by the time if they have children, the children have also grown.
Correct. Left the nest.
Yes. Because normally, marriages sustain when the kids are small and they say, oh, okay, for the sake of the children, we are into this marriage. Unless the marriages have just fallen apart.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of violence and toxicity.
Extreme reasons.
Right. But however, I feel that people do give it a shot, do give it a time. And then later they realize that we've given enough and it's our life. Now we want to enjoy our life, or we want to take decisions as per our life. And that is when the marriages just fall apart. So I consider the age of 45 plus, after they've given everything to this marriage, is the time when people say quits or call it quits and, want to break this.
So you don't think that if we get married young, we are more likely to adjust and accept the opposite party, men or women, and the older we are set in our ways, it's harder to adjust, hence the divorce rate is higher. So when we were kids, we were always told by our parents or our grandparents, it's better to get married early, you'll adjust, you'll settle into the marriage. I mean, at the time I used to find it silly. I was also a career-oriented girl and I used to be like, but how does it matter? Whenever I have to get married, I can do it. But today, I'm, in the second half of my life, and I feel like, if today I had to get married to the same man, I probably won't have the same view of life, same view of marriage. I probably would not have the skill set to adjust that I did back then, because you're moldable when you're younger. You're open to acceptance. Just like a 7-year-old is ready to accept whatever you give them, compared to a 17, and then today a 37. A 37 is not ready to accept, no, I don't eat it like this, no, I don't walk like this, I don't do this, I don't sleep at night, I don't wake up in the morning. We all have our very rigid opinions of life. So you don't think that makes a difference then?
Of course it does make a difference, Ashna. In fact, I always tell my mom I had a child marriage. I got married when I was 23. But at least at that age, I could adjust to everything. But today, if it comes to my daughter, who's also a 23-year-old, I think I will stop her from getting married. I feel that she has to be independent enough, and she has her own views today. Yeah. Probably at that point of time, even if I had the views, I didn't have the courage of talking it out to my parents. But today's generation, they will talk it out and they know what they want. So, and as you grow old and you get into a relationship, I think the other partner should also know that this girl or this boy has his own views, and
this is what they stand for.
Yes, and they should respect that, and that is companionship,
Yeah.
And then that's how you have to get into it. Then don't expect that he or she has to do do these things which the society wants them to do. Then it becomes really bad, because every girl or every boy might not go with that thing that I have to now do the cooking. It's not
Yeah, the
compulsory.
mindset, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As you said, you will have Indian khana, then Italian. Now it's different. It's completely different. Today, a girl might say, I don't want to cook.
Yeah.
I need somebody to help me. I think it should be fine enough. But a guy should understand that you've not got a cook to your house. And today's women are independent. They also have their own likes, dislikes, views, everything. I mean, so we see it. I have my own children who have views against me. I mean, so they tell me also, though we are blood related. So we are talking about two different individuals here.
Who come from different backgrounds,
Totally.
different mindsets, different everything.
Different families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always have heard of this word, but I don't know if it's applicable to our country or what. I don't know the depth of it. And if you can explain to us, what exactly is a prenup agreement?
See, actually, Ashna, prenup agreements are not at all acceptable in this country. Although these young girls, because of the Western influence that we have,
Yeah.
they undergo all this. But in the court of law, though they might just read it or understand what is written in it, but you cannot execute a prenup agreement. A prenup agreement could be probably that you all are married, your assets. I mean, say if you are an independent woman, you will have your own assets. So you might say that that person might not have rights over your assets. And if you have to get divorced, you all will do this amicably. You will ask only this amount of maintenance. But again, as I said, these are not at all executable. Though they will, the lawyers will try to say that this was the understanding that was reached, but there could be change of circumstances. So like in Western countries where prenups are taken into consideration, we still do not take that into consideration in India.
So prenups is basically a document that's formulated before marriage.
Yes.
To say that if things go sour and if things go southways, then this is the agreement between the boy and a girl in terms of assets and money.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Absolutely.
And so if there's a dissolution of marriage in India, then there is nothing called a prenup.
Not
So
at
there is no preset. If you and I were to separate from our partners, today there's no preset
Not
of what
at
you
all.
and I get.
No.
So we might get nothing.
You might not get anything, or you might get something, but it depends upon the court's discretion. So you cannot say, I cannot pinpoint, or I will not tell a person that, oh yes, you have 50% stake or a 50% stake in the assets of that of the husband. No. Now at least there are judgments where you have to put everything on record before the court, your income, your assets.
Right.
And then after arguments, it is the court's discretion, the lifestyle enjoyed by the parties. And then the court will pass monthly maintenance. So there is no division of assets in India as of today. I'm talking this as of today, like in Western countries.
So in Western countries, obviously, I think it's a very normal procedure where affluential families or families of all backgrounds and ethnicities follow prenups. Do you think the younger generation of India wants to follow that as well?
Yes, I'm telling you. As I said, that they are influenced by Western countries. And to some extent, I feel prenups are necessary. And all the youngsters today want to follow that. I mean, say they do come to us and say, please, madam, draft this prenup for us. And we do it. It's their understanding. But as I said, later on, after a few years into the marriage, if a person say, oh, you had signed this prenup and now you have to stick to it, there is no, it can't be done.
So if the document is not legally recognized, it is kind of useless.
It is useless, but sometimes people do go as per, so it all depends, The courts might see that, okay, this was the understanding that was recorded, and so say that within a year of marriage, they want to break off. The courts might give that some consideration before passing any orders.
Right. So let's talk about marriage quality and mental health. Because obviously the marriage quality at some point has been the lowest of its form to have reached divorce and have come to you. How often do you encounter couples that stay together just for societal pressure and societal perception?
Oh, there are many of them. I think even in the older generation that I've seen, marriages have not always been great, but they have pulled on because of societal pressures that, okay, we need to stay in this marriage to show to the society. There have been couples who stay into this marriage for the sake of the children, as I said. So I think there are many of them. Many. I mean, I can give you numbers. Even my friends or in the family, I can tell you that they are living this marriage just for the sake of the society.
So, what legal implications arise when couples separate but don't divorce? So, I'm sure I've heard of a lot of people, they
This
separately.
is known as judicial separation.
Okay.
So in judicial separation, there is no divorce. You want to live apart. So the legal implications are the same. The wife can ask for maintenance. Husband can ask for access. Only thing that they are not divorced. But if any order of judicial separation is passed, okay, and after a year of that order, that becomes a ground for divorce.
Right.
So these are the legal implications as far as judicial separation are concerned, because there are many marriages where they want to just live apart.
And see.
See, either they want to see or they want to say that I don't want to be formally divorced, but I want to live apart. So the wife has same legal rights. The husband has rights for access to the children. So only that you are not divorced.
Okay. Is that something that people fall into?
Some of them.
Is the percentage low?
Very low.
Is it because they don't have understanding of it, or
No,
is it because
they
not a-
do have understanding, because when you come to a lawyer is going to let you know as to what are the implications, what are you getting into it. And probably they have just made up their mind that, madam, we don't want divorce. We just want to be separated legally. So then you have to work according to what your client wishes.
How does this affect the mental health and future of relationships?
Now, if you tell me mental health, of course, breaking of a marriage is not good at all. And especially if it is a contested one. You're fighting it in the court of law. There are many people who undergo a lot of depression. There is anxiety. They take sedatives before they come to the court because they need to calm down. And it affects the children the most, because a child is going to grow seeing their parents fighting. So for a child, he or she will never get into a right relationship. Or even if one gets into a relationship, probably they might also take what their parents are doing, and that relationship might just go fut at any given point of time. So it is very important, and I have always believed and I have always told people or my clients, it is better if you depart amicably. Maybe you all are not good husband and wife, but you can be good parents to the children.
Yeah.
Because they are our society now. We have
Correct.
to, see to it that their mental state is
And they're the
good.
future.
Absolutely. But there are very few people who really understand this. But when they are fighting in the court of law, it affects everybody mentally. I always say that there is no right, wrong, or if I win or if I lose. I think by coming to the court with a divorce, you are already a loser.
Correct.
That marriage is broken. What are you giving your children? I mean, so you're fighting in front of the children. I'm seeing it. You get the children to the court. That is not the environment. The small kids, today their age is to have fun with their peers.
And they're seeing the ugliest side of
Very,
life.
very. I mean, so there are many children. You have a children's complex. They're crying. The children are manipulated. And especially when the child is with the mother. I mean, it's a majority of them, they stay with their mother. They're manipulated. They say, no, we don't want our father. We hate our father.
Yeah.
So mental state is really bad. So the courts do have all these counseling centers for the children, where children are sent to this Muskan for counseling. But I don't know how much does it really help a child after seeing all this really dirty, bad legal battles that are going on in the court.
And, I think in the end, no matter what you show the child, no matter what you surround the child with materialistically, I think if they see miserable parents and if they see the ugliness of the marriage, I don't think they can easily come back from that.
Not at all. And that's why I always say that, children from broken families see the worst. Every child might not imbibe the same thing in its future relationship, but there are traces. You see them because they have seen that in their childhood. So it is really very bad for a child to undergo this stress and trauma. And then for them, the relationship is like or you just have to fight all the time, or you have to
Yeah.
manipulate things, or they play anyway. Even in good families, when you're together, a child will always play one parent to the other. In this, either the mother is giving some materialistic things to woo the child to her, or the father is giving materialistic things to woo the child. So the child has no discipline. Okay.
Yeah.
And the child then
And,
uses.
and children are clever. They know that
Totally.
they are picking sides.
Totally.
Yeah.
So they change.
Yeah, they'll take advantage.
So they manure. And then this gives rise to manipulations. I mean, so you don't want a manipulative individual.
Growing up, yeah.
Absolutely. Because it's not only in his personal relationship or her personal relationship that it will affect. It will be even in his career or her career, where they will just keep manipulating because that's what they're seeing.
You're right. I think it's very important. I mean, I'm not in that situation, so it might come across it's easier said than done. But I think as human beings, as a society, as a community, we must try that. Even if you don't want to stay in the marriage, no one's forcing you, but try and make the process as smooth as possible, so that you are anyways suffering, you are anyways unhappy, but why do you want to make sure everybody else is miserable as well? Because
Especially
we all
the
can
child.
try, in the end, two people don't get along, that's fair, it happens. Sometimes people don't get along with their parents. I'm not saying you have to live with that parent.
No.
You want to at 18, 19, you feel
But that's
like me and-
exactly I'm saying. Even the blood today, my kids are fighting with me, are arguing with me. So tomorrow, if they get married or they have somebody in their life, it says there is every possibility that they might not get along. So I think you should just smoothly just break this relationship off, then staying in this toxicity and giving misery to everybody around you. I mean, say the families also, the parents
exactly,
also undergo a lot of misery, pain, agony, everything. You can't see all that going.
So tell me, how do external expectations about a perfect marriage impact relationships?
It does impact, because there are some people who come to me, oh, madam, we were the perfect couple, as
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah.
I mean, people they used to swear on us, that it's a beautiful relationship, but we really don't know what's going on behind the closed doors.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think you should take that pressure of the society. I mean, so they might feel it. You might have, you might go out with picture perfect couple, but that person might not be happy within you. So I think the societal pressures or external pressures should not affect that. You should be free to take your own call and say quits if you are not getting along with your partner.
So do you think there are legal tools available for couples before they reach the divorce stage?
Yeah, there are counseling centers. There are marriage counselors. I think it is a booming profession now. We do. I mean, say when a couple comes to us, or if a guy comes to me, or a woman comes to me, and if I feel that their issues are very trivial, I feel that this is not why they should
Grounds for
separate.
divorce, yeah.
I always tell them that why don't you try? See, this is going to be our first. We try and see if reconciliation is possible.
Correct.
You don't break the marriage immediately. But young couples who come to us, I always tell them that you need time.
Yeah.
You have to give this relationship some time. So why not go in for a marriage counseling? There are many marriage counselors, so you can just go there. It might help you. There have been cases where counselings have helped and they have decided against filing for divorce. Yes.
Yeah, I agree, because I think call it naivety or sometimes call it brash decisions. I'm glad that our legal system doesn't allow it so easily, because you can go through a bad phase.
Even under law, within 1 year of marriage, you cannot file for divorce.
Oh, right.
You cannot file for divorce unless there are exceptional circumstances, like you're beaten up and that guy is really mentally unstable, or the woman is unstable. I shouldn't say only a guy. A woman is unstable, and you feel that by staying with him even for a day is going to be harmful. You have to prove it to the court of law before you file a petition within that 1 year,
1 year.
of marriage. So even in law, they don't allow you. They give you some time that try.
Adjustment period.
Yeah, even our courts, the family courts, the enactment of family court is also meant to see that whether reconciliation is possible.
Right.
So even when you file a petition, Ashna, in the court of law, the first thing is that you have to go in for counseling. You have counselors appointed by the court. So they try and see whether you all can reconcile, keep this petition abeyance, whether you all can reconcile. If you can't reconcile, then at least can you part ways amicably? So, lot of efforts are taken by everybody, even the judges, the judiciary, I must say, in the family court, take in a lot of efforts to let the clients know that, this is not a good thing. You should think about the future.
There are many steps available to fix
Absolutely.
things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Either you reconcile. There are young couples, they always say that, why do you want to get into it? What has gone wrong? You all are young. You all were dating each other earlier. So I've seen that. But ultimately, it's the client's call,
How effective do you think marriage counseling sessions are for jurisdiction?
See, marriage counseling, again, I'm saying, marriage counselors are there. The couple or the partners or the two individuals who are undergoing bad phase should have an open mind.
No, but is there a requirement by the judicial system
Yes,
that
I told
you are
you.
no like these many sessions, and if the marriage counselor writes that this is not
Yeah, there are 3 sessions. So after your case is filed in the court of law, it goes to the marriage counselors. Full liberty is given to the marriage counselors to decide how many sessions they want to do. But normally, I have seen, in my experience, there are 3 sessions. After the 3rd session, when nothing is working out, they just send a failure report saying that it has failed, and that's how then you start the contested matter.
And what preventive measures do you think that are recommended to engaged couples?
I feel that they should go and visit a lawyer, divorce lawyer first. They should understand, they should make a visit in the family court to see how everything is going on. They should go to a marriage counseling to understand that it is a give and take, to understand that you have to be open to a person, and you have to understand that you're getting married to a person as well as his family. I mean, say, even if they want to say, no, we are marrying only a person, that's not the truth. Because at some point, you're married to the family also.
Yeah.
So I think they should come to a marriage counselor first. They should do the counseling. They should have a visit to the family court to see how everything is going on. So I think I would advise that to an engaged couple.
I think marriage counselors also not only will explain what divorces are, but I think it's very important to explain what marriages are. That it's a
Exactly.
lot of work. It's not like you'll get married and what you see in the movies or you read in the magazines, it's all, rosy.
See what happens, you're getting married and you have all those 3-4 functions and it's all a rosy picture that
Yeah.
time. Believe me, I always say that, and my friend's daughter just got married and nothing just, woos me. I was over there, I participated, and I always tell her that I said all these functions, I said, I feel that instead of all this, the couple should go to a marriage counselor. They should understand what a relationship is first. They should
Yeah.
know that how a relationship has to work. I said that is more important for me than, having all these shadi ke, mehndi lagao, sangeet karo, cocktail karo. Because at the end of it, if the couple is not going to be happy, then all this is waste.
Yeah.
It is just, for me, this is my personal opinion. This is waste of money for me. you
Yeah.
know.
So let's discuss some of the core reasons why people head towards divorce. My understanding as a layman or a laywoman is intimacy issues and financial issues. Can you tell us how they differ?
Now, it all depends from case to case. Yes, there are intimacy issues where marriages have not been consummated for quite some time. That could be one of the issue where the couple comes in and say,
Not been consummated only.
yes.
Oh,
There are many of it. They come after 2 years or whatever. They try for 2 years and the marriage is not consummated. And that is the time that they come and say that we can't live here. See, financial issues come later on. Financial issues cannot be the only ground for divorce. There is no ground like financial issues. Or infidelity, that somebody has walked away from the marriage or has an affair outside. Then the most important thing is cruelty. Now, when I talk about cruelty, it could be physical cruelty, it could be mental cruelty, it could be emotional cruelty. So it's a very broad term.
Right.
So you have to prove all that. So it could be a husband coming and nagging, or a woman coming and nagging a husband, or not giving food on time, or not respecting the parents of a husband, or of the lady. So there are many things which fall into this perspective of cruelty. Then financial issues come in when you file for divorce and then you need maintenance. Yes, financial issues also within marriage are important, because sometimes a woman, today, why am I saying a woman? Because today in our society, we still feel that it is a man who goes out and works, 80% of it.
Is the breadwinner and women are homemakers.
Absolutely.
You're right.
So I think she should have the dignity. She should have some kind of money that should be given to her, where she has free access to that money. She can spend on whatever she wants. But yes, there are some men who are controlling. Freaks.
Yeah, because in the end, when we get married, and let's say when we have children, we might have to step out from our career, step back. And when you are looking after the home, his parents most likely, and your children, there is no time for a career. Or there'll be very little compromise time for a career.
course.
So you can't be the breadwinner. But if there is no financial freedom given to you at that time by the man, I think it is very disrespectful.
Suffocating. It is disrespectful. I mean, so you and me also have kids, and we have also taken a back seat in our career, and we have allowed our men to work hard and on. So I feel that taking care of the children, taking care of the house is a work of dignity.
Correct.
And I think every woman should be, given her, something, so that she can fall back upon her security. She should not be, especially a career woman, when she takes a back seat, she cannot be asked to beg to her husband, oh, I want this, or I want this. I mean, it's really suffocating for that woman.
Correct. And disrespectful, I feel.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I think financial issues also play an important role. And everybody should realize that when a woman is taking a back seat, or she's a homemaker, and she's looking after your house, she should also be rewarded.
That is also a job.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main job.
Yeah, it is. And it takes a lot of mental effort to do it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So I think those issues also come into play when the marriages break, So there are different issues. Every case will have different issues, but these are most of the common issues which probably come up in divorces.
How do courts handle matters like intimacy? Are courts very sensitive towards it? Or you think it's,
No, intimacy in what sense?
So if a marriage has intimacy issues, I think as a society, we're not so open to talk about it. It's still taboo, right? And if two people were to go to court and talk in front of so many people about these issues, do our courts receive it well, or do they maintain the privacy?
Of course they do. I mean, say if you want these other issues, where there are, these intimate issues, or there are certain allegations that are made, or there are some sexual allegations that are made, we always request the court to hold these proceedings in camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's only the couple, their lawyers, and the court. Where we argue, and everybody else is. Because everybody does not like it to
Exactly.
be...
because we're a very protective society.
And
as
apart
well.
from being a protective society, I think it is a very individual thing. Yeah. I don't think it is something that others should know.
Correct.
It's something which is very interpersonal.
Very personal.
Yeah. So I don't think others should know about all this, what's going on. So yes, courts do take this, and in-camera proceedings are held. I mean, it is under law.
You spoke about infidelity, and I actually wanted to know, we watch in the movies that infidelity is being traced with technology. Do you think it has increased?
Totally, I think so. Nowadays these social medias, these WhatsApp, and sending messages and photographs, and Instagram following. Of course it has.
No, do you think technologies help people find out that their partners are cheating?
Oh yes, to some extent they do. Because at some point you just, nowadays there's this craze of selfies, and you're going anywhere and you're taking these photos, and we've gone here. So sometimes by mistake, it's uploaded. And then that partner, say with whom you're
cheating
with, will probably get it, from somebody's common friend's social media, and will use that in the court of law. It has happened so many times in so many matters.
So definitely it has given...
So we tell our clients that, please just play it safe. Don't go on, boasting where you're traveling, with whom you're traveling, and, things like that, of course.
Yeah, because I think technology has really made us aware of things that probably 20 years ago it was hard to find out.
Very hard.
If your husband 20 years ago said, I'm going to China for a meeting, you just
How
thought
would
he's
you
going.
find- Yes.
You will think he's gone to China for a meeting, but today from the flight to the hotel to the pictures to everything, you can find out, right?
Of course.
So I think in a way you can look at it positively. That infidelity can be difficult because you know you're traceable. You don't think
I
that's
don't
a fear?
think so. No.
And-
Not at all.
So, do you think there is a difference between the legal implications between male infidelity and female infidelity?
Not at all. Infidelity has a common explanation in law. There is no difference between a male infidelity and a female infidelity.
The court sees it the same way.
Yes, totally.
Because society doesn't.
Maybe, but you are not before the society. They are not going to govern your marriage, or they're not going to give you a ruling, because society will always blame a woman,
Yeah.
whatever, sad, but they do. But the court will see it in the same eye. It's a balancing thing.
In your 25 or 27 years of experience, like you said, what is the percentage of women that ask for divorce compared to men?
I think it's equal now.
Yeah?
Yeah, totally. I'm saying there are women who are coming out in the open now and asking for divorce because they know that they cannot live with that man anymore. But of course, the percentage of men is more even today.
Really?
Yes.
I would have thought it's the other way around.
No, asking for divorce. I'm talking from the matters which I'm handling. Of course, the percentage of men is more than compared to a woman. A woman still will think about it. And then there are only few women who know or who have made up their mind that I want to be out
want
of
to
this
walk out, I want to walk out,
relationship.
yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Don't you think a lot of times, like you said, if men find it easier to walk towards divorce compared to women, is because, especially in our country, we don't know where to go. Like, your parents have put this kind of mindset, societal pressure, you can't come back. You don't have a life without that family. Your identity is your husband. Don't you think that's an issue?
For some people, for some women, maybe. But for a woman who is on her own feet, who is a career woman, I don't think that these grounds are going to help her any longer because she will say, whatever it is, I'm not going to go back to my parents. I want to lead a life of my own. And she will just walk out. But there are some women, even today, in some middle class or whatever, where the parents say, "Arey, abhi tumhari shaadi ho gayi, abhi tumko udhar nibhana hai." But let me tell you, Ashna, that I have also seen the parents evolve of a girl. They say that, Baba, if you're not comfortable
Happy, yeah.
or you're not happy, and there has been total cruelty, to that girl, they do stand by her even today.
That's amazing.
Totally. It has
we've come a
changed.
long way.
Of course, we've come a long way. The parents do support their daughter.
Because I think 2 generations ago, it was not acceptable.
Not at all.
You can get beaten to death, but that's okay.
Yes.
That's your destiny, they would say.
Yeah,
2
absolutely.
generations ago, at least.
Yes, but
So I
now
think-
the society has changed. All the norms have changed. So I think the perspective, we have to look at a very different perspective now. And it's not easy for both the warring couple to just go file for divorce and you get divorce on platter. You have to prove your case. If you're not doing it mutually, you have to prove your case.
Right.
And so it's a difficult thing. It's a long drawn battle. So everybody now thinks before, they want to go in for a contested thing. They prefer to dissolve this amicably.
Can you tell our listeners what are the most misunderstood legal rights in a marriage?
They feel that a woman has 50% stake in a husband's asset, which is not the truth. Please understand that. We are not following the Western culture at all. So you are not going to get 50% of the assets that your husband owns. You might ask for it, but under Indian law, you cannot. You will get a monthly maintenance. You will get some alimony. Now, there are different acts of domestic violence wherein you ask for compensation for the injury that is caused, but it is not that you make an application and you're going to get it.
Correct.
You have to prove what you have stated. So, and it will all depend upon your husband's income, if you have some income, your lifestyle. So there are many
Factors attached to it.
absolutely attached to it.
And what do you think is Do you think these rights vary in jurisdiction?
It's the same. It's the same Hindu Marriage Act. It's the same Special Marriage Act. So jurisdiction is only where you have to file a case.
Right.
So that's how the act tells you that if you are married in a particular place, a place, that court has the jurisdiction. If you have lived together as husband and wife in Y place, that court has the jurisdiction. If a wife stays in X place, then that court will have. So jurisdiction has nothing to do with different laws. It's not like Western countries where, different states.
Their jurisdiction changes.
No, they have different laws for
Correct.
different states.
Yeah.
It's same law
It's exactly the
in
same.
India, everywhere.
So, what emerging rights do you think that young couples should be aware of that, if marriage isn't working out, or if marriage is working out, but tomorrow might be a grey day, what we should know about?
The young couple should know that you have a right to ask for maintenance for a woman, especially. That she should be able to ask, she can ask for maintenance. If there is a child involved, a man should know that he has a right of access. Even if a woman is staying with that child and not allowing him to meet the child, he has total right over the child. He can ask for access. He can ask for the child to be visited at his place. All these rights. A woman also has a right of maintenance. When I say maintenance, it includes food, clothing, and shelter. So she has that right. She should live a life of dignity, what she was living with her husband. So she should know that is her right.
Her basic right.
Totally, her basic right. And she has to get that basic right from the court of law.
So, obviously, divorces lead to custody problems. And I think that would be a huge battle. Just as divorce is a battle, I think custody issues are huge.
Totally.
So, do you think the courts support a particular side, like the father's side or the mother's side when it comes to custody? Do you think they lean towards the mother's side?
I think the courts nowadays, what we are seeing, the courts nowadays support the non-custodial parent. Now, when I talk about a non-custodial parent, please understand that a person who has the custody of the child when you are fighting is the custodial parent. Either it's a man or a woman. But 90% it is the mother who has the custody. But even the high courts have come up with rules and regulations. And there have been battles fought by men. There is a group of men, who are into this, that what are our rights towards our child, because a woman just does not allow that man to see the child.
Yeah, then it's almost like I'm a single parent and I'm the only one.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, say, we see, and it is unfair to that man.
Correct.
To that father, because today the society has evolved. At that point of time, as you said, 2 decades back, probably our fathers never took that much interest
in our
while
lives
we were growing.
Compared.
But today's father does the same thing what a mother is doing.
And it's very much involved with school
Yes,
you're going to.
totally.
Yeah, what sport you're playing.
And then if that mother, after the child is born, just takes the child away and does not show the child to the father, it's really unfair. So those rights are evolving, and the courts are very protective towards the fathers, where they will give access to the child, unless the mother proves, or says that he's an unstable person.
Yeah, emotionally abusive, physically abusive.
Or sexually abusive, or whatever. But
Correct.
nowadays,
But those are extreme cases.
but you know what, Ashna? I've seen that women nowadays, I'm sorry to say this, but they are using all kinds of things just to keep the men at bay and not allow meeting the child. They falsely implicate them into false complaints, POSCOs and things like that. I mean, so this is a growing trend. I want to let everybody know this. But the courts will look at it. I mean, so I have a matter where the father is really crying. The courts have given him access, but she's blatantly just not following those orders. And she has gone saying that he will sexually be bad towards a child. She has invoked POSCO. I mean, so it's really bad.
Yeah.
So the courts...
That's a huge accusation. Yeah.
No, it's really bad accusation.
Not only that, why aren't parents understanding that even though you're heading towards this divorce and you might be thinking of protecting your child because you were unhappy with this man or this man was unhappy with the woman, then you want your child to not have any relationship. But why aren't they understanding for a child, they need both?
I understand that. So there are only very few people who understand this, right? And that's why we have many matters in the court, which is a custody battle and which go up to the Supreme Court. And the courts also try that, you have to allow, for the sake of the child, you will have to sit across and let the father meet the child. And that's why this idea of a court, children's complex, was developed in the family court, where the woman does not allow the father to meet outside.
Right.
Then the courts do pass an order saying that you have to get the child. The access will be monitored by a counselor of the court, and the fathers will have to come and meet the child there. Or then they say that there are some groups where, they've NGOs rather, where they take access over there so that it's a monitored access. So there are different ways of the courts really take an
Making an
active
effort,
part that the non-custodial parent has to meet with the child.
Yeah, because it's great, because I think in the end, a child needs both.
Yes.
And if there's a missing father or missing mother, will eventually lead to mental health issues later.
Totally.
Because you have to have both parents in your life, whether they're living with you or not. So, what are the marriage rates in India compared to marriage rates globally?
People getting married,
Yeah.
they're in lakhs.
No, I mean, do you think we are 70% ahead of the whole world in getting in terms
Of course.
getting married? And what do you think our divorce rates are?
Compared to the marriages that happen in India, the
Yeah.
divorce rates are really low. Let me tell you that. Because I always, at the end of the year, when you go to the court and you file a petition, either it's for divorce. So the courts also take in only custody petitions. They also take in other petitions. So when
Right.
you have the court register, so at the end of the year, there are hardly like 18,000 matters which are filed, or 20,000, whatever, are filed in the registrar. But the marriages that takes place are in lakhs, no? And thousands. So
Because a very interesting conversation. We had a lady here from Germany for some work, and I was talking to her. And she said, what is the divorce rate in India? Because she comes from another country originally. And she said, back home, it's become really high, XYZ. And I said, I think India is still very low. I don't think it would be above 10%.
I'll tell you why. The reason also for that could be that getting divorces in Western countries is very easy. They have a no-fault divorce.
No, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about
No, that's why the rates over there are high. Please understand. Whereas in India, even if tomorrow they want to get divorced, but it's not amicable, they have to wait for years together to get a divorce. So whereas in Western country, the divorce rates are high, one of the reason also being that getting divorce in Western countries is really easy. They don't have to wait for a longer period of time.
So the friend who was sitting with me answered the question before I could and said, oh, it's like 70-80% in India. So I turned around and I said, I don't think so, that the divorce in India could be as high as it. So what happens is, in our society, we hear of 3 divorces and we start to think it's become so common, it's happening everywhere. But like you said, there are lakhs and lakhs of people getting married every year. And then you'll hear of the 10,000 or the 5,000, let's say, who are actually reaching divorce. One is filing for, and one is actually reaching and getting separated and getting that legal document of being divorced. So it becomes minimal compared
It is less, but at the same time, please understand that in our families, we have never heard of divorces, but now it has reached our doorstep.
Yeah.
So in that way, if you're going to see that, yes, there has been a rise in divorce, but compared to the marriages that take place, the divorce rate is really not that high.
Correct. That's exactly what I was trying to compare, that it's versus how many people are getting married.
Right.
And how do you think that different countries, are addressing changing patterns in marriage, right? Like in the Western world, so many type of marriages are okay. Open marriage is acceptable. Polygamy is acceptable. Husband and I living in different countries and working, but they're still married to each other is acceptable. Whereas I think India as a country, we believe in traditional marriage, right? Do you think these trends are changing?
Of course they're changing. There are couples who work in different countries, but they're still married to each other. So they meet once in a while. Of course, we don't believe in polygamy. That concept is still not in India. Now, when you talk about open marriages, if the couple wants it that way and they're staying and they're happy, nobody
But I think
will
it's
come
still,
to know. But it's not legally.
our society, it's still
Society is
alien.
not going to accept that.
Yeah, it's still an
So it
alien
depends
concept.
from individual to individual. But otherwise, most of the marriages are traditional, that a wife has to go to their husband's house, live over there. So it's going on. But there is a change in the trend now, I've seen that.
So we live in big families, right? Compared to the Western world or any other country, I would say. We have a concept of extended families. Extended families very much in your business of your marriage, what you're up to, what you're not up to, why you have 2 kids, you have 1, why does your husband come home late, are you okay with that? So it's like there's a lot of feedback which you may or may not want that is given to you about your marriage, and which may make you internalize and think, yeah, I'm not in a good marriage because everybody around me is telling I'm not. So do you think extended family plays a big role in divorces in India?
Of course, say every couple will not like that. Say they might like to have their own decisions, but as you said, mostly in these business families, everybody will come and try and give some advice, and it is not something which is acceptable. So nowadays, if you really go to see, they don't want to stay in a joint family. They want to be either into a nuclear family or at the most with the husband's parents. But if you are talking about the extended family, because it's not, they don't appreciate it any longer. That it's coming from somebody that, oh, you have to have 2 kids. Because I think it is such an individual decision that a person has to take. So, of course, that also has given rise to a lot of divorce matters. When they are,
so do you think extended families?
Yes, when they stay together, yes.
And do you think that the courts understand this?
To some extent, yes, they do.
So do extended families have a say in divorces?
No.
Not at all.
Unless they come as witnesses or they have witnessed something. Again, as I said, from case to case, it depends. So they have witnessed some fight or something in the family, and you call them as witnesses, they can come in as witnesses.
But otherwise, they don't really hold any value.
No.
So can you tell me what legal boundaries can protect marriages from family interference?
I think they should give space to the couple. They should respect their opinions. At the same time, the couple should understand from where the elders are talking, listen to them, and then take a call. But I think it is very important that a couple should be given a space. They should be allowed to lead their life, because they are not young. They're not like people they're 18 years old. They have their own mind.
Yeah.
They are working. They have their own mind. So let them. You can always interfere and say, okay, you're going wrong somewhere. But again, it's a very relative thing. For you, it might be a wrong thing, but for them, it could be a right thing. So I think you just let them go by the flow. They will learn by themselves what's right and what's wrong. At least I believe in that.
I think if the legal age to get married is 18, which means you're saying they are wise enough to decide,
Yes.
for themselves, because you need to be wise enough to get married.
No, you cannot tell that girl, अरे आपने अपने पति को खाना नहीं परसों दिया है. You have not given him. Come on, yeah, leave it. I mean, say we are into a different league now.
Yeah.
Let them decide amongst themselves whether the husband wants to cook food for the wife or the wife wants to cook food for the husband. But there is a lot of interference. Huh? I've seen that she doesn't get up only on time. If she was your daughter and she was getting up late, so it's the same thing. Accept her that way.
Yeah.
But I think it will take a lot of generations to undergo this change.
Yeah. And how do courts balance family interests in divorce cases?
Like what?
Like financial interests. So, for example, a girl and a boy are getting divorced and the family has different financial interests. Are courts able to gauge that and act on it?
Of course. So as I said, that there is a law where the husband and the wife both have to file in their affidavits, have to file in their income tax. There are various ways where the Supreme Court has laid down certain rules as to what has to be filed. And the courts also look beyond that, their lifestyle and how the family is living, where they are living, the cars. So the courts will balance all that and pass an order accordingly.
Because, I've also heard of cases, I've read about a few cases where the family is not interested to give anything to the girl or the boy who has parted ways. The couple themselves are interested. For example, if a girl and boy are getting divorced and the man is very much interested in compensating his wife because things may not have worked out, but he doesn't want to be evil about it. But like I said, the family interests don't match. So the father, the mother say she doesn't deserve any money from us. Do you think that holds up in court?
You can't go with this plea. because it's the wife's claim is against the husband. So husband cannot say, oh, I want to give her, but my family, it doesn't work there. But in an amicable situation, there are times when the husband says, madam, I want to compensate, but my family is coming. So then we try and get the family involved.
On board.
I call them and I tell them that, why not? I mean, say, just give it. He is ready to, whatever, he finds that both of them are at fault and he wants to compensate. So I think you should help your child in getting that, because he doesn't have that kind of funds. So sometimes it works, sometimes it just doesn't work.
And do you think the legal system can have better ways to support mental health in marriage and in divorce?
Legal system, they already are doing a lot. Looking at the pendency, plus we do not have the required amount of working courts. They're already doing a lot. They have the marriage counsel. We have 2 marriage counselors on each floor. So they are already doing, they already also have this child counseling session.
I think people are just not aware of it.
Yeah, till they don't come to the court of law, they are
Correct.
not aware of
Yeah.
it. So I always tell people, and there are a lot of marriage counselors who are there in this city or even otherwise. So I always feel, or through your channel, I would always like to tell people that before you get in for divorce, try and explore and see whether your marriages can work by going and attending to marriage counselors, and they really help.
Yeah.
And I always tell, nowadays schools, say forget the legal system, the schools also have these counseling centers, Ashna.
Of course.
So where a child is coming from this warring, there is a contested matter, and the school knows that the father and the mother are fighting. They themselves appoint counselors for
Yes.
the children.
Yes.
So they are also taken care of.
Yes. Schools also have
Yes.
counselors for single home children.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and even when they're fighting in the court of law, because many times notices are sent to school that do not allow, things like that. And the child really is, there is anxiety and he undergoes a lot of issues, anger issues. And the schools actually play an important role in giving counseling sessions, or they let the parents know that they need to go for counseling. So there are a lot of child counselors that are available. So I think people should know that, before they just coming to the court of law. There are a lot of child counselors, and it really helps. I'm really telling you, it really helps. I always tell them that try and take your child for counseling, because these child counselors also play an important role.
Absolutely.
In getting access to the other parent.
Yeah.
And trying to let the child know that what is good, what is bad, that how he should have both the love of both the parents.
Yeah.
And they try and make the other parents also understand that how you should approach. So I think all this is evolving. It has evolved, and it is evolving, and it's playing a important role in this system.
So you're a very, very accomplished divorce lawyer, and at the same time, you've been married for
27 years.
27 years. So can you give us, our listeners, some advice on what they should think about 3 main things before getting married in today's day and age?
Before getting married, you should first understand you should be financially independent. This is for a girl and for a boy. Do not be dependent on your parents.
Or your partner?
Yes. So both of them have to be financially independent. Be articulate in your thought process as to what you are really looking for, and do not have too many expectations from each other. Please understand that you have to compromise at every level. There are adjustments at every level. Yeah. Now, who adjusts when? That is something that one has to understand. But these are the 3 main ingredients that I will always tell my children, and I've always told my children. That independent financially, so that you are not dependent on your partner. Don't expect that other partner has to
Compensate
fend for you.
Yeah.
Both of you can manage the money and run the show equally, because you are equal partners. When we say equal partners, everything is equal. From a man's perspective, help a wife. She is also new to this concept. So both of you all can live in this situation happily if you also help her and try to understand her, because she has, today technically she leaves the home and goes to a new house. So give her some time to adjust. So I think these are the main points that I will say for a successful partnership or a
Yeah.
successful marriage.
It is a
Going for.
partnership.
It is.
I think it is to understand that in the end you're going to live
Totally.
with your best friend. That's what your aim should be. Who you can
and
talk
respect
to. Yeah.
each other. Respect each other. Respect that woman for what she's doing and respect the man for what he's doing. So I think then it's the best thing, and marriages are the best thing still. It's
Yeah.
not bad.
Of course, I think it is very fulfilling
Of
if you're in a
course.
good one.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, we are married, and I think it's the best thing in today's life. It's not something which is bad. No, some things here and there go wrong, but you have to adjust.
Yeah.
So,
Great. Thank you so much for coming in and having this candid
Thank you so
conversation with us. And I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as I did.
okay, Ashna, thanks for calling me here, and look forward to having such meets with you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.